Locker Room, with all the sports news you need. Live.
Go. And hello, very good evening too, and we are back, and I know that we're going to talk about the Euros as well, but I saw Graham disappear there for a minute, so I thought Graham was giving up on us. But I'm so happy that you're back, Graham. We're on until 7 o'clock tonight. Get your comments coming in. Get the post-mortem coming in, and at the end, I thought, guys, we would maybe hold hands and sing Kumbaya Yamagog. I don't know how that's going to work on the computer, but I suppose we could work as well. So joining us tonight, we are in the company of a Hibs, Livingston, and Hibs Hearts fan or whatever. Mikey, how's it going?
Well, I don't appreciate the Hearts thing, but it's going all right apart from that.
And he is just back from Germany, and he's now seen a psychologist once a week. Just because I put him on to her. Stephen Rizig is just back from I think it was in Germany. All right, Stephen.
Yep, I had a good time in Germany, apart from the football, but it was good.
We'll just get into business, as I say, as well. So, Stephen, first of all, that was your first experience, I would say, maybe going away from home. First of all, before we go on to the old football, because that's what we're here to talk about, obviously, how was Germany as a whole, apart from the weather, because the weather was awful, mate?
Yeah, I had an amazing experience. I mean, the march and Cologne for the Switzerland game is something that will live with me for the rest of my life. I mean, and going to these stadiums like Dortmund Stadium, Munich Stadium, Cologne and Frankfurt, the four that I managed to get to, there was a lot of travelling involved. I know there have been many people with trains cancelled, delays, but thankfully I only experienced some short delays, like a 20-30 minute delay, so it wasn't too bad in that sense. And from a disabled fan's perspective, as you know, guys, I done a lot of work on YouTube with the channel about facilities. I was the first game in the opening game against Germany, there was a bit of a bottleneck situation going on where they put us in the same gate as VIPs, and that was poor. I was thinking, this isn't really up to scratch. But then since then, inside the stadium, the views are raised, like elevated, so that was a bonus. There was only 4 toilets for the whole stand behind that goal in Munich for disabled folks, so there was lengthy queues. But I have to say that Dortmund, Frankfurt, and Cologne, fantastic. They even had accessible assistance stewards that took us straight to a taxi rank from the game in Frankfurt, Belgium v Slovakia, and we got away right away. So from Munich onwards, the disabled facilities were spot on.
Okay, so that's a good news out the way. Let's go on to the bad news. I suppose good evening to John. He's watching on YouTube, and Jamie and Peg will make a comment as well. We'll get to as well. Robbie Collins is here as well. Good evening to Robbie. Hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Right, me and Graham has been doing all the Euro shows, and it's not been very fun, to be honest. Mikey was supposed to be on, but sadly wasn't well. I don't know if he was just saying that or else he just couldn't be bothered talking about the game. Why smooth, Mikey, if that was the case. So, Mikey, Stephen, the floor is yours if you want to give us your reaction overall to, for the overall tournament, I would say.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously a huge disappointment. I think that Scotland, for the majority of the fans, were hoping that we get out the group. A lot of them saw it as a very achievable group to get out of. I was very sceptical because I thought there'd be a struggle to get out, but we underperformed even by my estimations. I think first game set the tone terribly. Against Switzerland, we were a lot better. We actually really gave them a good game, and it was a very good side we were playing. And against Hungary, I know we'll get onto it in a bit, but that was the game that really got me annoyed because of just how we got about the game. But overall, just happy to be at a tournament for once. It's the first one that I've properly watched that fans have been in, that Scotland have been at. So yeah, it was a good experience just even watching us there. But obviously, it didn't end the way that we wanted it to.
Stephen?
Majorly disappointing, I think, because all right, the game against Switzerland was a slight improvement, but you look at some of the stats: heaviest defeat in an opening game, the few shots on target over the group stage of any team ever to compete in the tournament's history. 2 or 4 shots on target were by Grant Hanley. I think we need to look at it tactically and say we got it majorly wrong, because the wing-back system that we operate with is pivotal, that you have balance on both sides, and that's what Aaron Hickey gives you. You then have someone coming in Anthony Ralston who doesn't offer you the same attributes as what Aaron Hickey does. And that was proven in his performances. But he's not a wing-back. He's not got the energy to go up and down the pitch that Aaron Hickey has. And then Kieran Tierney gets injured against Switzerland, and we still deploy this wing-back system in the game against Hungary. When you're screaming out for the to change it, we've got 3 wingers on the bench. Only one of them get minutes, and Lewis Morgan. Che Adams has played 3 games. When he's done nothing. When did he come and hold the ball up? When did he bring anybody into play? You've got a striker on the bench in Lawrence Shankland who's banged in goals for fun all season. He scores a goal in the friendly against Finland, and then he barely gets a kick when you go to the major tournament. I don't understand it. There was a stat that I seen, and it was threatening passes, right? It was Opta done it. Shankland was top of any player across the 22 and the subs that come on against Hungary, and he was only on the pitch for 20 minutes? And Steve Clarke has got a lot of questions to answer when everything settles down. And I know people say we should have had a penalty. That's hiding. That's papering over chasms, no cracks. Because our performance was totally lackluster. The only bit of joy we got was the penalty shout. And do you know where it came from? Someone running in behind. There was no one wanting to make penetrating runs in the Hungary game at all. And it was really a big letdown.
I'm not making excuses for Steve Clarke and all like that. But what I would say, just to start with, we were not helped before the tournament with the fact that Lyndon Dykes got injured, and so did Nathan Patterson and Aaron Hickey. I don't think that helped going in that tournament. Like I said, I'm not making excuses, but I don't think that helped.
Definitely never helped. But then is it not up to him as a manager to find another way to play?
I would maybe disagree with you, Graham, but I could see where you're coming from. First of all, John said crazy that Forrest never got on. Yes, and Lewis Morgan came all the way from America for about 10 minutes of football. My only disagreement with that be, Graham, is I know we had key players out, but surely we have enough in that squad to, no disrespect, to beat Switzerland and Hungary. And by the way, Stephen's right with that penalty. It's papering over the cracks. And as I said to you this week, guys, as well, sorry, getting a penalty, but you still got to score the penalty. It's not a guarantee that you're going to score that penalty as well. So, as well, and to be honest, we should have won. We should have been a few. Should never take a penalty to beat Hungary. Let's be fair.
Before the white game, kind of come back in after you've done, Michael. There was a start. UEFA, obviously, the Argentinian referees no longer involved in the knockout stages of this tournament because of the mistakes. But UEFA also mentioned in a statement that they thought there was a penalty for Hungary. Grant Hanley elbowing the player in the box. So this idea that we were robbed because of a decision isn't true, because UEFA have come out and said that Hungary should have had a penalty as well. I just wanted to get that in there. Sorry.
I think even now I'm still frustrated. I think we all are. And I think especially when you look at the teams that have qualified for the last 16, Georgia were in our group and they were awful. Yet they've qualified for the first tournament. They've qualified. You look at Slovakia, Slovenia, Romania, Austria, and Turkey, who I think we are better than, but they are all in the last 16. Now, Robbie Collins has mentioned about Tommy Conway. Now, Che Adams started every game, and I was told that Adams should start because he's quicker. I never saw any of that. Lawrence Shanklin got 22 minutes. Lewis Morgan got 11 minutes, and that was only due to the injury time that was played because the Hungary guy got injured. James Forrest and Tommy Conway got no minutes. I do not understand that. In a game, I said this at the time against Hungary, in a game you had to win, and you don't give any minutes to Forrest or Conway. There are a lot of frustrations, but that is the biggest thing for me. And I'll go back to the tournament 2020-21. It's a mirror image. We lost the first game against Czech Republic. Billy Gilmore didn't start. We lost the first game against Germany this tournament. Billy Gilmore didn't start. Second game, we drew with England. Second game here, we drew with Switzerland. The very last game, we lost to Croatia. The very last game here, we lost to Hungary. So we've not really learned any lessons from that last tournament. I think there has to be massive lessons learned. And the one thing I would like Steve Clarke to do is be more adventurous going forward. Now, if you look at the last game against Hungary, and we mentioned this at the time, the reason the back three was brought in was because we tried to accommodate Robertson and Tierney. The last game, we didn't have Kieran Tierney. Why not change to a back four? But he stuck with the back three. But the biggest thing for me in that Hungary game, and I said at the time, was the fact that in a game we had to win, we had no shots on target. And that is a really, really big frustration for me.
Mikey, John makes a comment in the chat here, and by the way, I've been saying this for a wee while, right? And I've been saying it since the last Euros as well, that we think our squad are possibly underachieving. Too many championship players, not enough creativity and lack of play. Now, the thing with that is, Mikey, do you think, I know it's like this to Graham last week, and obviously Stephen was at the game, do you think that Stevie Clarke and all his backroom staff has got a bit of football snobbery towards the Premiership players? Because, I mean, you've got decent players up here in Scotland. Why go again to England to get them?
I don't think so. I think that the English League, the English Championship's a higher quality than the Scottish Premiership at the moment. So if you've got players doing well in the Championship, then they're the players you should be picking. The problem that I then have, the problem that I would have, is that we are overplaying our ability, and I would argue it's already been done. I don't think we're a better team than Switzerland, and Austria are definitely better than us. We're not on the level that as an Austria or Switzerland, for example. We're a decent team, but we're not better than Austria, and I can definitely confirm that to you. But our squad's decent. We should be doing better, but we're nowhere near the same level as some of these massive teams.
Can I come in? Sorry, I know Regan's just joined us, but I'm going to list some things here, right? You've got John McGinn, who captained Aston Villa to Champions League football. You've got Scott McTominay, who was flying and qualifying, and one of Man United's top goal scorers. You've got a Champions League winner in Andy Robertson. You've got Billy Gilmore, who's one of the best passers of a ball. You've got Ryan Christie, who has one of the highest passing percentages in the league, playing for Bournemouth, although he plays in a deeper role, and that's something that I think I would like us to try, because he's flourished in that role for Bournemouth. So I don't buy into this notion that sides are overly better than us, and I kind of disagree with that, Mikey. What I think Austria do have is they've got a manager who's tactically phenomenal. Ralf Rangnick is one of the best out there, and you're seeing it by the way that they're playing at this tournament. Nobody can sit here and tell me that Slovakia are a better side than us. Nobody can sit here and tell me that Slovenia are. Nobody can sit here and tell me that Georgia and Romania are. Yeah, these are all sides that are in the last 16 of the tournament. Why? Because they get the approach correct.
Can I just say that Romania went unbeaten in a qualifying group with Switzerland, who are a better team than us.
They had an easier qualifying group than us. We had Spain and Norway and finished second, winning the first 5 games. they had we would have won. We would have won that qualifying group the way we were playing, if you ask me.
And
I don't think we would have finished above Switzerland, in all honesty.
And that's the thing, Mikey. You've got to think. You've got to take into consideration that Scotland were the second team to qualify for the Euros as well. But before we add any more to the mix, Reagan's just joined us. All right, Reagan, how are you?
I'm not bad, but Michael, thank you for having me on, mate. It's great to be here again with you guys.
Yeah, no bother. And going back to the point Mikey made, I'm not sticking up for Stephen just because I know where Stephen stays, and he'll come and get me after the show. But I mean, surely you're not going to go into the tournament and say, we're going to get beat off a Switzerland game. We're going to, Hungary's going to score at the last minute. If you take that attitude into every game, what's the point of even going to the tournament?
I think you're spot on, Michael. I think the big thing that's cost us this tournament is Steve Clarke's tactics, Steve Clarke's approach. I mean, I just feel like the whole approach during the 3 matches was a bit of negativity. I mean, I was watching the 3 matches at home, and I think I'd rather put pins in my eyes. I don't think we created many chances. I mean, people can go on about the penalty. It should have been a penalty and stuff like that. But we created nothing through the full tournament. And if you don't create anything, I'm sorry, but you don't deserve to go through. I'm with Stephen. I mean, see, in terms of that, I think Scotland got so many bright players as well, and I just feel like Steve Clarke's approach, I think he's took us as far as he can possibly take us now.
Something that I would say as well, right now, I know that Steve Clarke's getting a bit of a kicking, and I understand it, but for me, the big players in our squad have not turned up for this tournament. Callum McGregor's offered nothing. Andy Robertson's offered nothing. John McGinn has offered nothing. Steve Clarke also can't do much about players making daft mistakes. Ryan Porteous is getting sent off for the challenge in the Germany game. He can't do anything about Anthony Ralston making a poor pass back that leads to the Switzerland goal. He can't do anything about that. But yes, he had made mistakes. And something that really frustrates me as well. Now, I know that players might say things in public, they might think differently in private, but Anthony Ralston came back and he said, and I'm kind of quoting this, that they can look back and be proud. What are you proud of? What are you proud of? You've got 1 point out of 9 games, 9, and you've had 3 shots on target at the tournament. What are you proud of? I'm sorry, but that is, I said this on Twitter, that is a defeatist mentality. If you're coming back going, we can be proud of that. No, get that in the bin. You can't be proud of that. It was awful.
See what you said 10 minutes ago, Glenn. You've kind of contradicted yourself a wee bit there, and I'm going to go back to it. You said we had key players at the team, and yet you mentioned
we did though.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disputing that. But then you said a minute ago, John McGinn not turning up, Callum McGregor, Andy Robertson. So these are key players, and they play every game. So what are you saying?
I don't buy into the Ferguson thing, right? Because Ferguson was a sub that wouldn't have played anyway, right? He's fairly featured, but Hickey's pivotal, and Dykes, whilst I don't think he's brilliant, he gives you another option that maybe Che Adams and Lawrence Shankland wouldn't give you in the sense that he's a target man. So there was definitely players missing that could have improved it, but I don't know. I think we hide. I think we hide behind things in this country rather than just saying, "Look, there's an issue." There's an issue because you look at what we've got coming through. We lack centre backs and we lack goalkeepers. Yeah. It's all the same positions that we could just play in. So
good evening to Ian Emerson. Joined us on Facebook for the Tanama magazine. He was there at the tournament as well. Thanks for watching, Ian. Stephen, obviously I could fill a whole show with this one as well, right? But obviously that we are pointing the blame at Stevie Clarke and the team, but also the SFA's got to take a bit of blame here as well, Stephen, because like nobody's coming through at kind of youth level as well, and that's where it all falls down to me. Like the SFA gets off. I'm not saying they got off scot-free all the time, but nobody mentions it. They don't bring the SFA in the conversations as well because nobody's coming through at that kind of level.
There's a guy in the Scotland national team analysis department that's a coach at Cumbernauld Coach. St Cadoc's. How does that happen? How does that happen? And then he comes out with a tweet saying, "Oh, what a great trip, fantastic time away. Aye, brilliant. I'm glad we've spent loads of money watching a team play terrible, mate. Brilliant, great job. Hope you enjoyed the trip."
And that's a thing, right? Stevie Clarke, Graham came out after the Hunger game and was saying he was commenting about the ref. And Stevie Clarke says, "No, I don't want to comment because I've got lots of money." Now, if I went to Germany like Stephen, paid through the nose for getting there, playing through the nose for a ticket for the game, what's Stevie Clarke saying? Because obviously we're going through a massive cost of living crisis as well. The Army turned up in the decent numbers, had to give up work, and he's turning around and saying comments like that.
The worst thing that could have happened was the penalty incident, because it then gave Steve Clarke an excuse that I don't think he will deserve. And Steve has mentioned it there. The fact is that Hungary should have a penalty as well, so that it rules that completely out. And I don't agree as well with the comments that Steve Clarke made when he talked about the Argentinian referee. I completely disagree with that. It made no difference. I think he was completely wrong with those comments. But I just think to go back to the comments that like Ralston made where he said that like you can be proud of that. I'm sorry, but what are you proud of? You've got those Scotland fans who I thought were outstanding. I thought the Tottenham were brilliant. And I think they've been let down. Now, I said it before the Hungary game. If we go out there, we give it everything and we get beat, I can accept that. At least give it a go. But we didn't do that in the Hungary game. It was so passive. The first half, I think it was 72% possession. But all we did was go backwards and sideways. We didn't do anything with the possession we had. And I think if any of those players can go home thinking we gave everything, then there's a massive problem. Because I don't think they did personally. And I think somebody mentioned it as well. I'm just sort of trying to comment. Here we go. I can't see anyone that would be a manager that could improve the team, but Steve needs to have the ability to change the tactics. And that's the point I'm going to make as well. I think Steve Clarke, I still want him to stay, but what I want him to do is learn his lessons, and I want him to change his formation and change his system and be more adventurous. Because if teams like Georgia can do it, why can't we?
We were doing a survey, Reagan. I was just going to say quickly to Graham, I can't remember what game it was, but Andy Robertson came out with comments as well, like we were unlucky and all that kind of stuff after they get beat, and you're thinking, well, are you watching the same game as us? But yeah, sorry, Reagan.
Yeah, I was just going to say about Steve Clarke being adventurous as well, because I think for me as well that if you look at the players that we have got, I don't think there's any reason why we should be negative. We've got the players there to be adventurous. Me and Graham spoke about in the second build-up show about the fact that we hope to see James Forrest, the fact that we hope to see maybe more of a progressive team that could move forward, and everybody got excited about the 26-man squad, the fact that James Forrest, Tommy Conway, and all these guys were in the squad, and then I don't know, I just feel a bit daft that James Forrest, Tommy Conway never even got a sniff in the whole tournament.
I think the other thing I would say as well, and I think we kind of said this about the Hungary game as well, I think in pretty much every game, and listen, the Germany game we're getting beat 3-0 or a man down, I can understand that. But I think in every game, and I don't know if you guys agree, we made the subs far too late in every game.
Yep. Spot on. And I don't even, I think that After 60 minutes against Switzerland, at half time against Hungary, I'm screaming for Shankland to be on the pitch. Screaming because Che Adams' one attribute is that he'll run. He's got energy, right? But see, the minute, if that's not working after 60 minutes, you need to try something else. And by the way, what I will say is, Lawrence Shankland, brilliant at holding the ball up. He's brilliant at bringing other people into play. Everybody will point to his goals, but you seen it? I thought it was amazing in the game against Holland, the friendly against Holland. I thought it was brilliant, even though he missed his chance. So why is he not getting the chance? I don't understand it.
I mean, here's the question, right? I know we'll probably get into this more, but if you look at the next competitive games we've got, right, we've got a Nations League campaign against Poland, Portugal, and Croatia. Now, looking at that, that's a very difficult group because it's Group A. It's a difficult group. So, Mikey, if I came to you first, for example, what would you hope for out of that Nations League campaign? If Steve Clarke was to stay, which I think he probably will, what are you hoping for?
I'm just hoping for a reaction, to be honest. I think the performance against Hungary is the main one because the other two, although losing 5-1 to Germany is nowhere near good enough, it is literally one of the best teams in the tournament. And I think we were really good against Switzerland. But I just think that when we go into this Nations League campaign, we need to put performances in. And unfortunately, as unfair as I think it is, fans are already turning on Steve Clarke, and more will if we don't. So we need a reaction. But I feel like as Scotland fans, although I know that a lot of it is from a balanced point of view, but we've for some reason just decided now that we're one of the best national teams in the world, apparently, and we should be beating everyone. When that's just not the case, and we're not going to beat Portugal on a normal day, and we're not going to beat Croatia on a normal day.
Mikey, I'm
afraid
we're going to disagree again because like, if you're going to be that attitude, you'd be as well to say to Stephen, Reagan, and the rest of the Tartan Army, by the way, don't bother going to the game tonight. We're going to get beat.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but that's what it sounds like. If you're saying that, I mean, we beat Norway and Spain in the qualifying games, and they're much better than all the teams in the Nations League group. And I know that you're going to come back with, well, we scored a last minute goal against Norway. But we still beat them. You know.
I wasn't going to say that, but Norway are not better than Portugal.
I think we'll disagree there, Mikey.
Can I just let
you think Norway's better than Portugal?
No, I'm going to say, right, I don't think it's that we think we're one of the best teams in the world, Mikey. I don't think it's that. I think it's seeing other countries of smaller size doing better. I think it's seeing Georgia. I think it's seeing Slovakia, Slovenia. I think it's seeing these clubs, international teams go through where we sit and struggle. When we're told that this is one of the best squads Scotland squads that we've had in a while, and it is. It's one of the best squads that we've had in years.
I do agree. It's a wasted opportunity, but we need to realise that we've never got out of the group stage ever.
Just to let you all know as well, Motherwell are currently beating FC20 1-0 in a friendly.
But I mean, to be honest with you, Mike, we'll never have a better chance of qualifying for to get into the last 16. I mean, like
it was actually harder not to qualify.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, take Germany out that equation, right? Because we knew we were either going to get beat, going to get horsed, or going to be a tight game, right? I can understand that, right? But I mean, surely, Mikey, you have to go with optimism that you're going to give them a game or sneak a point or 3 points at the best. If you say, oh, that team's brilliant, that team's brilliant, that team's brilliant, you be well not turning up to the games. To be quite honest with you, you know, and that's it. I mean, that's the mentality of some Scottish football fans, Stephen, as well. If you go into every game thinking, well, they're a better team, why turn up in the first place?
No, I know, but I get what Mikey's saying in the sense that the likes of Switzerland and Hungary. Probably Hungary. I mean, Hungary. I think they were a year unbeaten before they kind of had the bad run in the friendlies, and Switzerland have some really good players. I still think that we can definitely compete with these sides, and but it's just there's something mentally wrong because from the 70s, Scotland teams haven't been able to qualify at a group stage. So there's something mentally there. There has to be. And when you look at sides like Croatia, population, Belgium, the population of Belgium, for the size that these countries produce, why are we not producing the similar level, similar quality? I've seen a stat a teams that had made it at a group stage that had went to Euros. Do you know Ireland have done it? Wales have done it. And Northern Ireland have done it. Scotland are the only country in the British Isles that have yet to make it past the group stage at a World Cup or Euros. The only country.
Can I come in on something quickly about Switzerland? What we're saying, right? I get what you're saying, that you may as well not show up if you're not going to have optimism. But there's a difference between optimism and realism, because being realistic, Switzerland have got out of every group stage since 2014. They're an established team, and we've not even qualified for a World Cup. And we are in a situation where we're in our second Euros, which is a good achievement. Hungary nearly got out of the group of death last time with Germany, France, and Portugal. And we're in a situation where we've done well to qualify. We did very well in our group. And what I'm saying with the whole, we think we're one of the best teams in the world, I'm talking about the fact that we now expect to beat all these teams. And I know there's the mentality of we should go in thinking we can beat them. But we shouldn't be going in expecting to beat Switzerland and Hungary when the facts are they've done more than us in tournaments. And that's not disputable. There's literal proof.
But we should.
Something that I noticed on Twitter, and I actually agree with this as well. If you look at Scotland, for example, there's so many things now that have got like no ball games up, or you've got to pay to get into a pitch to play football. Again, that's not a good thing for Scottish football. And I know that we're not Spain, right? But look at Spain. They've got a 16-year-old laddie in Lamal who has lit up this tournament. Scotland don't have anything like that. Probably no. Ben Doak is probably the only one that I can see that's really coming through that could do something. But apart from that, we don't have a youngster that I can look at and say, he's going to be a future star. We don't have that.
And that's the thing. Sorry, Regan. And that's the thing I was saying to you the other week as well, Graham, and that's why I brought the SFA into the equation. Because, Regan, I mean, we've got nobody coming through. Absolute no one. You tell me who's coming up to take Zanga Clark's placing goals as well when they retire. We've got absolute no one. Now Mikey was making a good point. I think it was Graham that made a point about a guy from the SFA saying, yeah, brilliant time in holiday and all that. But it's going back to the fans again, because he's going for a freebie. He's going for a jolly. Let's put it like that way, right? He's getting paid. He's getting pampered, right? And there's poor fans like Stephen and Mike, Stephen and John, watching the show, is up against it, but they still managed to get there. Regan, sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think going back to the point that the Graham spoke about it, the fact that Spain are getting 16-year-olds playing. I don't think in Scotland we would actually. We'd probably say that he's far too young. I think if we had a 16-year-old playing, let's say from Aberdeen, and he was playing really well, everybody would be saying, "No, he's too young. Don't let him go." I don't know if you agree, Graham, but that's probably what they would say. There's no way.
Probably. And it's not a good thing, I think, again, like I said, I know that Steve Clark's getting a lot of criticism, but I mean, the point here that Robbie says, I mean, the thing is, as well, even the boy that Motherwell have got, Lewis Lennon Miller, how long is it going to take for him to get a shot on the team? He's right, because, again, something I'll say, I don't want to criticise Steve Clark because I do like him, but I do think at times, like I said this last week, I think he is too loyal to some of those players. They play every minute of every game, and they very rarely get subbed. And I think that he needs to do something a bit different. That's why I want to see him do something a bit different. Change his tactics, change his formation. pick players on form. I mean, that squad when it was picked, the 26-man squad, I looked at that squad and think, I don't mind that. It's a decent squad. He called up Conway. He called up Forrest. But then he doesn't play them. He doesn't give them any minutes. In a game, if you look at the first game, for example, at the Germany game, fair enough, they were the better team. They hammered us. That can happen. Switzerland game, I thought we played well. One mistake from Ralston. We hit the woodwork from Grant Hanley. I went into the Hungary game thinking, right, I'm more positive going to the Hungary game. We've got a chance here. And then the Hungary game was awful. We did not turn up, and that's where my frustration is, because I think Michael might have said it. This was our best chance to qualify, and we've not done it because of that last game against Hungary. If you watch Hungary that first half, they were happy to sit deep and let Scotland have the ball because they thought they're not going to create anything. So they let us have the ball, and we didn't do anything with it.
By the way, can I just make a comment just before anybody else comes in? I'm going to absolutely take this contributor and ask him where's the evidence for this. Basically, it says Shankland is an Aberdeen reject, not good enough for Scotland. Now, I don't know if you're saying that as a wind-up or maybe you're one of Graham Duffy's enemies. I'm not actually sure.
I could literally rip this guy apart, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah, exactly. So, there you go. That's the only I can't believe he's saying that. But anyway, let's move on. Because he is good enough, he scored a lot of goals, and if you can't see that, there's something up with you. Just being honest with you. Stephen.
Yep.
I know Glenn was saying wait a few times now. I think it's about 7 times you've mentioned and says don't blame Stevie Clarke, but I mean the bottom line is you have to. He's the one that sets the team up.
I think Graham makes a great point, though. I think the players have to take an element of responsibility as well. They do, man. Like John McGinn, he looked knackered. Scott McTominay, he looked knackered. These players look leggy for me. Andy Robertson, I might be being harsh here, but I can't really remember a big game with maybe Spain, but a big game with Andy Robertson. Wow, what a performance. Do you know what I mean? And this is a guy who's won Champions League, Premier League. I think we just made mistakes at the tournament and we were scared to change it. Billy Gilmore, against Germany, when you're not going to have a lot of the ball, you need to... I'm watching it elevated, right? Germany were trying to press us in a way that would force us over to the right and for Ralston to have the ball. See the minute that Ralston get the ball, it was like bang. They would one throw-ins and then they'd have the ball back and they swarmed us. And we weren't aggressive enough in midfield because we didn't pick someone like a Billy Gilmore who would have pressed Tony Kroos and not allow him to get the ball in a half-turn and play balls and spinning behind us. Now, I'm not saying that we would have went and beat Germany if we made these changes, but it wouldn't have been 5-1. You wouldn't have been getting embarrassed, really. And I know Germany are brilliant, but come on, we walked away with the heaviest defeat in an opening game in the tournament's history. I thought we were tentative and scared to go for it against Switzerland. It was like, all right, we'll take a point and win the next game, which is fine. I was fine with the point against Switzerland. But then when you get to the game against Hungary, you have to be cutthroat. You have to go for it. You have to be aggressive. Look at Georgia against Portugal. Now, they've got a great player in Kavica Kvaratskhelia, right? Just showing off. I can't pronounce that there, right? But what they did have as well is they had players making penetrating runs. They had energy in their press. All stuff that you don't need to be blessed with great ability to do. All stuff that you can do for free that we didn't have.
I said this in the build-up show with Barry Anderson before the Germany game. I said in the Germany game we had to stop Tony Kroos playing. What did we do? We let Tony Kroos dominate the ball. The one thing I said we couldn't do. But then I thought we've learned the second game because what we did that day was we stopped Granit Xhaka playing. We put Scott McTominay on and it worked. We didn't do it the first game. But we did it the second game, and I thought, right, we've learned lessons here. But then that third game was so frustrating. So frustrating. And again, I actually, as much as I thought Ralston looked at his depth the first 2 games, I actually thought he did fine against Hungary.
Agreed.
I actually thought he was alright against Hungary.
Agreed.
Reagan, we had a guy sitting on the bench for Scotland. Basically, this guy was part of the reason why Celtic won the league, James Forrest. And he never got on. Now, he's got experience at Champions League level as well, Reagan.
Yeah, no, I was a big advocate for James Forrest to be playing. Michael, I mean, I'm not saying that James Forrest, he's going to be playing every single match. What I'm saying is, if you're looking for with 45 minutes to go and it's still 0-0 against Hungary, or you're playing against Switzerland with 25 minutes to go and there's not much happening, surely that's the time when you go, I'm going to bring James Forrest on and try something different.
I think that's what it was, wasn't it, Reagan? I think it's the lack of bravery. The lack of bravery is what's really scuppering us all here. And as Graham has said, if you're going to go out, you go to swinging. You go to swinging for the fences, and it's kind of all right. We went for it the last kind of 12 minutes against Hungary, but let me tell you this: you end up with Lewis Morgan in midfield who's a winger. You end up with Kenny McLean playing left wing back.
Aye.
So the shape doesn't
I
change.
forgot about that.
We're searching for a goal, and we take Che Adams off. So we swap striker for striker. There were so many mistakes made that just led to what unfolded in front is.
I just
Here's a question for you. I know it's way far in the future, right? I know that, but the World Cup in 2026 has been extended to 48 teams. Surely we qualify for that. It's harder not to qualify than it is to qualify.
David Moyes, Ahmed, please.
I don't know. I think we definitely need an injection of freshness into the squad. I mean, you look at the wing back system. I mean, if Steve Clarke's going to stay, something still has to change. So I'd be okay with Clarke staying if we change his approach slightly, because that 5 at the back system was brought in to play Robertson and Tierney in the same system. With an injury-prone Kieran Tierney, I don't think you can rely on that. I think you need to then have a plan B, something else that you can go to. I think it works great if you've got Hakeem Tierney in the team. We've seen evidence yet against Spain, against Norway, which and then even against Georgia at home. So you've seen evidence it working. But I think we need to find another way of playing. Get the likes of Ben Doak into the squad. Go to maybe a 4-2-3-1 if this wing back system isn't working. And I just try something different.
Right, I know that I'm not hosting this, but I'm going to do this anyway. I know it's a question that will be asked, so I'm going to come all of you. I'm going to start with Mikey first. If you're the SFA, Mikey, are you stacking Steve Clarke?
No chance. I'm definitely not sacking.
Oh, sorry,
Mikey. It's weird, right? Because as I said, I don't mind if he stays, if he changes something, but I don't think we've learned anything from the 2 appearances in tournaments. I don't think we've progressed. I think that the big turning point was McTominay's disallowed goal against Spain. I don't think we've played since then. Do you know what? I put out tweets saying that I would, but I'm probably 51-49 in favour of no. Do you know what I mean?
I've said
something has to change.
So I've said I'd keep him. Mikey said he'd keep him. Stephen Skinner said he'd keep him. Reagan, if you're the SFA, would you start Steve Clarke?
Yeah, I would. I'm just fed up with Scotland being too predictable to play against. I just feel like every team that plays against us knows what to do, and I think even you watch the game on Sunday, Graham, I feel like they know that they can break on us, but we've got I think we should be playing James Forrest and playing Tommy Conway a I mean, I think all of these teams want to do against Scotland. So,
And by the way, we're still not mentioning Stuart Armstrong yet. Sorry, Regan.
but I'm going to say that I don't know if Stephen's seen the interview, but Andy Robertson mentions that some players will possibly retire. I'm going to say that Stuart Armstrong is probably one player that probably will retire from Scotland.
See, when you host a show, you don't get asked a lot of questions. So this is now a chance for Michael to ask the question. Michael, if you're the SFA, are you sacking Steve Clarke?
On that performance alone, yes.
See, I feel like I've contradicted myself because I've been very critical on Twitter, and I've said that I would sack him. But the more I think about it, and some people make some good points, Davy Moyes is a kind of a similar approach, right? And for me, the only other candidate is Derek McInnes. It's the only other one that jumps out at me that I could say appoint him. I don't agree with going down the route of appointing foreign managers. We've seen how that worked when we appointed Brendan Rodgers. That was a disaster. So I'm kind of not that I've changed my. Steve Clarke needs to change something, and if Steve Clarke doesn't, then he will be out of a job. That's what I'm saying.
That's what Robbie said. If Clarke is going to change it up, I think everyone is more than happy enough for him and want to stay. My worry is he won't change, and that's exactly what I'm saying as well. If he changes things, if he goes a bit more adventurous, then I'm happy for him to stay.
I think I would back that up, Graham, with that comment there, that campaign alone. But also, what I would say is the SFA needs to get a grip as well, because I mean, like we've had this conversation for years, to be honest with you, and the SFA doesn't seem to bother the backside, to be honest with you. But I mean, what about grassroots football? You know, and I'll say it again, like who's coming through? You know what I mean? So the SFA needs to take a good look at himself. I did say Stevie Clarke to get sacked, but in saying that, I don't think he will now, because the SFA has not come out and said still time yet to do it between now and September, obviously. But the time was this week if you were going to do anything. I might still be surprised, Mikey, on that one, but like, you know.
Can I just quickly come in on something? With this whole Steve Clarke thing, I don't get it. I don't know why there's the argument to sack him. He's got us to back-to-back Euros. He got us to within a game of the World Cup that we hadn't qualified for, a Euros or a World Cup, in 23 years up until 2021, and it's obviously further now. He got us out of a terrible situation, and as soon as things go a little bit negative for 6 months, 8 months, we're now all saying sack him. We don't have a replacement. We aren't. We've got to Euros. We've got to back-to-back Euros, actually. And in the Euros, we played a game against Switzerland and a game against England, which we can be hugely proud of as a country because we've got something out of a team that's better than us. And the game that I've got a problem with is obviously the Germany game, which wasn't held by Porteous, and the Hungary game, which we just got wrong. And a lot of this whole Steve Clarke thing has came from friendlies that doesn't matter.
Mikey, I was going to ask what Robbie asked the question. So, are you right? Let me get this right. I don't know if I'm hearing right tonight, right? So, are you guys quite happy going to these tournaments? Are you not good? Are you not happy about getting out of the group to the last 16?
Well, getting out of the group's obviously a positive, but we've never got out of the groups before, so it should be get to a tournament, and if you can get past the group stages, that's brilliant. It's like, see, for these teams, like we've been put in a group, right? Last Euros, we were in a group with England, who got to the final. We were in a group with Croatia, who 2 years later, or a year and a half later, got to a World Cup semi-final. Czech Republic, who went to the quarterfinals. And in this time, we've got Germany, who were one of the best teams in the tournament. Switzerland, who have got to, I don't know how many knockout stages in a row at tournaments. And Hungary, who haven't lost a game in a year. We are a team that, yes, has done well in getting here, but getting our qualification wrapped up so early has made our fans believe that we should go and win games, and that's the point I made at the start.
I'm afraid I'm afraid to say, Stephen, that I'm going to disagree with Micah again because I don't know what you took before you come on the show, but I can disagree with you completely, Micah. I know everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I mean, come on.
What do you disagree about?
Well, everything you said, because if you go in with that, if you go in with that, I can't think of the word offhand, but if you go in with that attitude towards every tournament, why go to Germany then? You know, it's one-off
because
games,
you're backing the team.
Right, Mike. I think you make a lot of good points with Switzerland and how well they've done, but I think where we were when we qualified for last Euros, that was a great achievement. We got into the back door. The squad wasn't as rounded as what this squad was, right? So there was a lot of players in that squad that had experience of being at a major tournament, and that's supposed to help you in those situations, having that experience before. And I just feel like a lot of them let themselves down. Tactically, Steve Clarke let himself down by his decision making, and I think that's where the gripe is. I think that this is what I mean with the mentality of, oh, we've done brilliant to qualify, amazing. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's make the next step. Now, somebody could have said to you, right, that you were going into that last game against a Hungary side who had been beat by the Republic of Ireland in a friendly, swept aside by a Switzerland side that you just drew one each with, and you would only register one shot on target across 90 minutes. Come on.
I agree with you on that. I agree that we haven't been good enough, and at this tournament we haven't. But the problem is that people are wanting Steve Clarke out off the back of it when, as I've said, he's got us to back-to-back Euros, which we hadn't got to since 1996. Nearly a World Cup that we hadn't got to since 1998. And we've done really well. And if we go on and do well in the Nations League, we can put it behind us. And there's this whole thing about us letting ourselves down, which, yes, we've not done well, but we've got to a tournament, which is genuinely what Scotland should do, because we've never got out of a group before.
Right, let me change the question ever so slightly, Micah, right? So imagine Hibs got to the group stages, right, of the Conference League, right?
Yep.
Oh, please, God, no. Can't have that.
Would you not want Hibs to qualify, or are you just happy to be there?
I'm not saying that I don't want Scotland to qualify. I'm saying that us getting to the group stage is an achievement in itself. And the fact
I am no disagreeing.
It's a disappointment. It's a disappointment that we've gone out in the groups. But we can't just be going on saying, "Oh, this is incredibly unacceptable." The result, yes, the performances haven't been good enough, but the end result is not a major surprise or some horrendous. It's not like France getting knocked out in the groups. We've never been out the group stage before.
Not that he needs me to back him up, because Mikey can talk for himself. But I actually agree with pretty much everything he said. To be fair, I think he's spot on with everything he said, and I think the disappointment for me, and I said at the time, was the Hungary game, because that was a game for me that I think we could have won, and I think we were far too negative. But in terms of what Mikey said, I actually agree with everything he said. I think he's absolutely spot on. Now, it's not to say that, yes, of course Scotland should be looking at the group. Of course we should. When we qualified, I said the same thing. I said I think we can get out the group. I thought Germany would win the group. I thought we'd finish second. We've not, and that's disappointing. But I actually think everything Mikey said, he's spot on with. I agree with him.
Stephen, help me out here.
I mean, Michael, he's made good points. He's made good points. I think. No, I'm at a position now where I've been ranting on Twitter for the last week, as you've seen. I've been going ballistic, right? But that's because I see sides like Georgia going through. I see sides like Slovakia, Slovenia. That's where my anger comes from. I think that we should expect to do better than these sides, and I don't think that's entitlement at all. I don't think that's entitlement when we've got players playing in the best league in the world. And I think, as so we're told, by the way, I'll preface that with so we're told. But I just think that the way that we went about it. Do I think Steve Clarke's a bad manager? No, you don't become a bad manager overnight. I've said in my post that Steve Clarke done a great job. I just wonder, like, with the amount of players retiring, right? You've got probably Grant Hanley, Stuart Armstrong, Robertson's in his 30s now, McGinn's getting older, right? So we're entering this stage where we're going to be going through a wee bit of a transitional period. Is Steve Clarke the right man to take us through that? Or do we go with someone with fresh ideas, a new approach, and take us forward that way? This is the questions that the SFA need to answer. And
Well, Hashbury says here he's waiting for names for replacements. I don't think there's a Davy Moyes. Would I really want Davy Moyes? I don't think so, personally.
That's why I've kind of altered my opinion to what my tweets have been saying, because he is a similar type of manager. The only one that I could think of is Derek McInnes, and people probably rubbish that because he's Kilmarnock manager. But what he has done, he's turned the Kilmarnock side around. He's identified players that have turned that squad around, so he can identify talent, right? He's done a great job at Aberdeen. Aberdeen haven't been the same since he left. Done a great job at St Johnstone in his first job. So he's about the only one, because he'd probably come at it with a different approach. And that's maybe why I wouldn't pull the plug yet. But nobody can sit there and tell me that something doesn't need to change. And I think we're all in agreement on that something does have to change moving forward.
I can probably agree. On you go, Mickey. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, so you see how you were talking about Derek McInnes has turned the Kelly team around, which I totally agree with, by the way. Would you not argue that Steve Clarke turned the Scotland team around, because he came in after we just lost 3-0 to Kazakhstan?
No, I would agree.
And,
I would agree.
And he's done a very, very good job in his time here. And for example, let's say Kelly get into European football in a couple of years, into the group stage, and then get knocked out. Do they then all go, Derek McInnes out, he hasn't done enough? Because he's taken us from a position where we were losing 3-0 to Kazakhstan, and he's taken us to an international tournament where we have got to the last minute with a realistic chance of getting out of the group for the first time ever.
See, this is what I think I'm being misunderstood. I'm not raging that we went out. I'm raging at the way we went out. It's the way we went out that is absolutely infuriating me, and I think it's what's infuriating everybody. We went out with a whimper. We were powder puff for 3 games. I thought, and you said it's Switzerland did a better squad, and a great squad, and correct points, right? But see, during that game, Mikey, did you not feel like they were there for the taking? I felt like we had
opportunities to win. Yeah, I felt like we had opportunities to get more out of the game. But looking back at it in hindsight, regardless of the performances on the night, yes, it's possibly disappointing that we didn't take more out of it. But we've got a point against a team that's not even on paper after the last sort of 4 or 5 tournaments. They just get out of groups. That's what they do.
And until
Steve Clarke is our best manager since Craig Brown. That's basically what it is. And yet I just find, like, I'm as frustrated as anybody. Like, the tournament for me was not good enough. I completely understand that. But Steve Clarke's the best manager we've had since Craig Brown, and yet folk are looking to get sacked after 2 tournaments. I don't understand that. I really don't. So I'm with Mikey on that, because I think Steve Clarke's done a great job. But moving forward, I'd like us to be more progressive and be a bit more adventurous.
I think, see, just the manner that we went out. I think the reason why there's all this annoyance is obviously just the manner of the performances. And I think a bit of the friendlies have come into that before the tournament because it looks bad on paper. But I just think that game against Hungary, all of the anger kind of came out at once, and that's where all this stuff with get Steve Clarke out came in. Because see, if we'd gone and lost 3-2 to them in the last minute, a very, very good side, that were actually on the top of their game, which they weren't against us. So that was where the sort of frustration came in. But from that situation, had we just lost 3-2 going for the game, none of this Steve Clarke stuff would have came out, because we could have looked at it with a clearer opinion on it.
The irony is, had Ralston not made the mistake against Switzerland, or Hanley's goal had gone in and we'd won that game, a point would have done us against Hungary.
Yep.
Stephen, last word to you, mate. Looking forward to the Nations League in September. Obviously, you'll be going to the games because you're one of the Captain Army. That me and Graham and Mikey's not. You know, and I'm ashamed to admit that because I can't get the bus fare. what has to happen between now and then? Listen, I'm saying Stevie Clark to get the sack, but if he's still in September, I'll support him.
Yeah, so I want to be wrong in this. I want Scotland to be flying. I want the Scotland of the first 5 qualifiers that I watched, which I think we can still get with the wing-back system if the correct players are available. Steve Clark's mistake is he didn't have a plan B, so he needs to now, between now and September, come up with a plan B that if players are injured, they will do this. We'll do this instead. And if he does that, he's done a fantastic job. I'm not saying that he's done a terrible job. He just got the Euros wrong. He got it wrong.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks to Stephen and Mikey and Graham. Mikey, I'm going to shake your hand after the show. That was a good fight, actually. I think I won it by just a wee hair.
Nah, I'm getting Mikey in a third round stoppage.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, we will be back on the 2nd of August. I haven't got my notes in front of me, Graham. But yeah, we'll be back for the new season, Friday and Sunday, and European games as well during the week. So can't wait for that new show kicking off in the new season. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you soon. And keep taking the pills. Cheers.